Yeah!
Nice, dude. Welcome to Cosmic
Labyrinth!
It's like Wayne's World, but 2024.
Yes.
2025. Where are we? Are we 2025? Where are we?
Almost at 2025.
But do we do it at winter solstice? Do we switch at winter solstice, or do we switch on? When do we switch the year?
Depends on which calendar we're talking about.
Can we do winter solstice?
Yeah, we could say.
That's the new year?
Solstice. Well, the new year is actually, I would say, March.
Oh,
during
the farmer's new year. The farmer's new year.
The farmer's new year is during springtime, not necessarily during the winter time when everybody's actually trying to stay in the cold rather than being out.
Well, I mean, I think it's fascinating. Well, I think it's fascinating that we're at a time right now, like both sociologically, economically, what else? What am I missing?
Ecologically,
politically, philosophy,
socially, personally,
educationally, media-wisely, entertainment-wise. Digitally, like all the Lees, right? Including Bruce Lee, are doing a new kind of, creating a new martial arts, a new creative arts, a new communication arts, It's happening, something is happening, bubbling.
Yeah, I definitely agree something is bubbling. And we're excited to be able to share that with everybody and kind of what's been bubbling in our world, right?
Yeah, and I feel it's one of those things where we are being called to show, to create a space for empowered leaders to come together and actually come together and talk about problems and issues and concerns, but not to be so stuck in the frustrations and the concerns. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all about getting them out of that and getting new ideas and having more people involved in creating new ideas together, right? Because I think we've come from a place of like the top-down problem, right? The pyramid. When they're trying to bring everything from, the leadership ahead on top, bring everything down. What if everybody down here is able to communicate? So the
brain, okay, and then you got the heart right here, but they're not collaborating. They're not spinning with each other. They're kind of just like, right?
Yes. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring them into harmony.
Well, this is in the middle. All right. So okay. So what's going on? So why the heck are you here, Charlie? Like, why are you here? Why did you come here?
So I'm here to really prep with you. We're really excited to be able to do a festival out here in Crockett. So I'm really excited about that. But really, I felt like this year we had an opportunity to kind of refocus and realign. And really, ecotherapy has really kind of come to the forefront of our consciousness. And I think for us to really go deeper and lean into the ecotherapy is a much better place for us to be, because I think it is a very needed service right now.
Totally.
And lots of people love to talk about it. Barely anyone's really doing it, right? Everyone is doing it in, again, their heart space or their, brain space, but not like heart and brain together.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's missing.
Yeah, and it kind of also alludes to like, is it possible to do, so there's certain types of work that needs to be done, right? Like literally, I can't help but feel and think we need to plant trees, we need to plant native plants, we need to plant food, we need to plant vegetables and herbs that can be medicines. Look, we need to do that now, not in a few years, not when we get something passed. It's kind of like those things are important for food security, for health, because a lot of these, food is medicine, a lot of herbs and food can be medicine for so many of the chronic illnesses happening in our communities. And then mind you, can that work that needs to be done, for example, planting, right? Can that be made fun? Like we got to do work. Like water needs to be restored so we can have clean drinking water for the next generation, for our generation and next generation. What is the work that has to be done can that be fun?
Yeah, and ironically, right? Because again, we have this book here, The Hidden Message of Water, right? From Masaru Emoto. So the idea is when we do work on water, we want to actually work with in the space of happiness and joy, because we are imprinting the water itself that we're working with, right?
Totally.
And so this is kind of where the metal hits the road kind of thing, right? Like, what is it that we're going to do that is not just saying, oh, we're helping ecology, but rather we're showing up even with our vibration, what we're saying we're going to do, and really coming in community together and really taking care of the land together.
Right. And so, it's funny because while we're taking care of the land, we can also talk about, our concerns, our frustrations, our anger, our fear, while we're working with the land, while collaborating with other people, while maybe even syncing with each other, dancing, meditating, breathing, sharing food with each other. In that process itself, we could come up with solutions together. We can actually ideate with each other and be like, oh, you're a teacher, you're a nurse, you're a farmer, you're a builder, you're an engineer, you're an artist. How do we come together and solve together in a way that doesn't need somebody to tell us we're allowed to?
Yeah, and I think what's really also important is that the people who come with solutions are involved in the solution. We've run into too many people at hackathons, right? It's a great idea. Who's going to do the work?
Right.
Oh, we're going to go hire somebody to do the work.
Right.
Why did you offer a solution that's not you involved? You wouldn't do it personally, right?
Exactly.
And so that's actually very important that we focus on that.
Well,
we're messing with the screens here, and we're very excited again to be able to share this camera system and setup here.
This is something new for us.
Yeah.
Right here. What are we doing? Even this, the point is, how do we do citizen journalism, local journalism, but make it fun? Do we need to scale out to be world famous? Is that actually how's that working out in the world to be world famous?
Well, the problem every time that people talk about doing grandiose things, people get overwhelmed. They don't know what to do with that, right?
Right.
And that's why we have to actually start focusing on the local solutions, what is happening in our local community, because that's where we can make a bigger impact, because that's where we live, right?
Dude, it sounds like you're saying loco. You're saying we got to go to the loco communities?
We gotta be loco, right? For the stuff we're doing, people think we're loco.
I mean, at some point, we kind of have to realize we do need a little bit loco, because the way the systems are right now, expecting a system that's working how it's working to be better without the craziness, without maybe the crazy wisdom, crazy doing, crazy service, crazy, these things that actually we need to be a little bit more extra.
Mm-hmm.
We can't, or at this moment, we can't be oh, let me just incrementally help.
Right, because I think right now we're at a stage where everything has been developing generationally for so long now that the idea that you have an overnight solution is actually ridiculous, right? Because this is where we have to create, that's why food, right, is a generational thing, is a seasonal thing. You're not gonna go, oh, I'm gonna grow some food and within weeks I'm gonna get food. No, actually it's it takes months, as we know, anyone who's grown anything, and that care every day to make sure that this fruit, right, was
Wait, is persimmon a fruit or vegetable?
I have no idea.
Wait, Google it.
I really thought this was a fruit. It tastes like a fruit to me, I'm gonna call it a fruit. From my own experience as a scientist, it tastes like a fruit to me.
But this might have been planted generations ago. I don't know.
Yes,
Who knows
right.
how long? Or maybe at one generation, two generations.
At least, right? Because a lot of times, a lot of trees, they don't bear fruits for a few years.
And how many human years is that? So in a way, we also need to be doing things together, thinking about how this affects of 7 generations, through 2 generations, 3 generations. Are we doing the thing, coming together? Are we doing something together that's producing support, food, water, safety, security for future generations?
Exactly. Yeah, and what's really important too is getting the community involved too, right? It's not just one group of people. It's not just your politician. It's not just the people that get paid by the community. It's everybody, because in the end of the day, you're walking in that community. Yes, you might have paid taxes.
Totally.
But this is where we are today. We supposedly believe that we've paid taxes. We believe that the people who are in charge of our taxes is actually doing things that we like to do.
Totally.
Right? And so this is where I think, coming back from this crazy election, I think we need to stop thinking that civic engagement only happens once in 4 years, right?
Yeah.
But rather it's happening every day. It's happening because you go home and live in a home that is in a city, that is in a county, that is connected to a state,
Totally.
And that's where we are, I think, as a country trying to move to a space of trying to be more local and affecting our local space rather than trying to change the presidency every 4 years so that the president is going to fix everybody's problem in 4 years?
Well, and you bring up a good point, because even from like a very practical, logical space, like, so this is in Crockett, this is our local, if you guys can see, this is our local journalism, right? It's an awesome homie. I think his name is Dan, hold on, let me honor him for a second. His name is Dan A. Robertson, okay? Look, he does the advertising, the editor, the publisher, the photography, and he puts this all together. Right? Wow. But like Dan is the man, right? He's the man because
he's definitely the man.
Dan's the man because look, he's sharing the stories of the community. It's like, it's in print. There's even an article like that I got it put in here, right? But the thing with this is like, who reads articles now?
Right. Unless they're under 600 words, I don't think anyone's reading
You know,
this
I've actually
these days.
showed this article about my flute politics. I've actually showed it to like several different people like our generation, like, and little, you know, Gen Z millennials. I'll be like, hey, read this. They're unable to, and they're smart. I'm talking about like people who went to like Harvard, people who went to like, NYU. I'm like, can you read that? And like, they cannot focus.
Oh, really? So it's, like I said, it's more than 600 words.
And Harvard. So where we're now,
Wow.
where we're dealing with that a lot of people don't read. And so how do we meet people where they're at? Especially younger folks and even older folks. How do we meet them where like, maybe like, this is great, I'm all for this too, but how can we also support Dan? Like, how do we honor some of the stories he's talking about, but we film it, right? We like storytell through this platform, right? And we have this like, dynamic way to not just meet people here in the studio, people can come here to the studio too, but we can also go out to where you're at, go to what projects are happening in your community, and we can highlight it, especially if it's good, especially if it's solving a problem that is causing unnecessary harm to people, right? Or to the planet.
Yeah. So I love to actually have a deeper conversation. We're actually here in what was the county called again?
Contra Costa.
Contra Costa.
Wait, hold on, you can see right here.
Oh,
look,
yeah.
You could drink from it, hold on.
Contra Costa Television.
Here's right here, you can see right here.
Contra Costa Television.
And cheers. Cheers to Contra Costa. Here, you can see the logo, Contra Costa. I'm drinking the Dr. Emoto Contra Costa water right here. That's some Contra Costa goodness right there, right here, you know?
So yeah, tell us more about, I think you've now been in this new home for less than a year or about a year now.
Something like that. Feels like lifetime.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like there is a vortex, like especially where we live in Crockett, it's such a dynamic space because we have, remember I was showing you today that within 1 mile, we have like the top of a mountain almost, like really pretty high altitude, maybe like, I'm totally gonna like guess, but it's gotta be in the several thousand feet, right? And then you get to the bottom and you're at sea level, where the bay meets the Sacramento River, the Bay Delta. So you're like at the water to the top of the mountain within maybe 1.5 miles.
Wow. So there's a lot of weather and different climates and also ecological
aspects, right? And then also the history of Crockett, being that Crockett was one of the first labor cities in the United States for labor unions, right? Especially like metal workers, construction workers, steel workers, a lot of labor people, garbage workers, right? Like all these people that we need in our society to build, to clean the poop, to like do all the things that nobody wants to do, for them to have unions to support their health, their safety, their their family, their communities, so they don't get taken advantage of, right? Mm-hmm. So labor unions at first were a way to like prevent slavery and to like mitigate also the harm being done by that kind of employership of hard work versus what you get from the hard work, right? And then so the city has that, this community has that thing, but then also Prohibition era, it was popping off in Crockett. Like Crockett had all the underground bars, because it was on the water, and then it had also the sugar factory. So the sugar factory, what do you make from sugar when it comes to alcohol?
What's sugar?
Rum.
Oh, that's right. You mean sugar cane? Yes.
Yeah.
Rum.
So so during the Prohibition, this was all a sugar factory. So like, what do you think was happening when they were like, hey, you can't have alcohol?
They made rum, right? They made rum.
So I'm curious, even through this show, how we can like explore, maybe find those underground tunnels and like what is happening and film it and like go down there and maybe who knows what we find, right? But like, what if it's like ancient mysteries, Crockett, right? What do we find here, you know?
Crockett edition.
Crockett edition, right? There's also like spiritual stories and like mystical stuff, and also the indigenous people here lived here a long time, and they were very like they were very abundant. This is actually one of the most abundant places in all of the Bay Area because it was one of the first places to settle. So people who were coming here to settle, like the early settlers, right? I mean, settlers were probably earlier than that, but you know what it called the American settlers, right? That came from the East. When they came, this is one of the first places they set up shop.
Oh,
So you wouldn't set up in a new place if it wasn't abundant.
Right.
So in the context of that, from the indigenous perspective and the abundance to like the climate, to like the history, the political, the social, the work history, there's a lot of history here, you know?
Yeah.
Both, and of resilience too, and of creativity, and of work and labor, and of, you know, like innovation, because there's also a cogeneration plant in Crockett, which is like one of the first in the world. Of like we're using like a little bit of natural gas to create steam, and the steam is powering and creating net positive energy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's here.
Nice.
It still is working actually, and giving the city and the community extra energy.
Oh, wow.
So what? So you know, there's a lot of
Steam power. Nice.
steam power.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of interesting kind of like things happening in town. But like the history is amazing. But like also, what can we do now with that energy? Because it has that energy, and it still is here, right? Of innovation, of possibility, of adaptability.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So with that, I mean, you know, this is where we're talking about going back to hyperlocal, right? Like in your process of moving here, you decided, hey, this is my community. I am now part of this community. And so you've really found a way to, and everybody knows Indy, him and his flute just will take a walk and find himself everywhere around that city, around wherever he goes, right?
Sometimes you have to have harmonic Tourette's.
Harmonic Tourette's. That's funny. That's funny. You definitely have harmonic Tourette's. Yeah, and so you've really found your way around Crockett, and now you know what's been really exciting is you found basically a plant, right? An oil rig that's been actually let's say it's now having to reinvest into the community.
Yeah.
And so now you've been able to actually take that and say, hey, let us get the rest of the community involved in deciding what we're going to do with this reinvestment back into the community from what we consider an ecological mistake, right?
Yes, exactly.
And so what's really powerful is that, you know, we're choosing to take more an active role in the local community to help out, because this is kind of where we can take action instead of trying to like do something in San Francisco or in like the whole county, the whole state of California.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a matter of kind of studying. I think for me, it's been a long journey of like actually understanding like where can we make the most impact. And when it comes to the most impact, it's just like when you're like working with a patient, right? I mean, now you're a TCM doctor, you understand, you have to like first identify where the imbalances are, right? And then when you find out where the imbalances are, you support the rebalancing, right? That can be through various methods that are like, you can do like, you literally physically do something there, but you can also like change the diet, or you can like add certain foods or certain drinks. You can add certain like, right? There's many different ways, subtle and physical. For us to do this in our community is important because a community is like an organism. And so how do we support it? So this money is actually, it's not about, it's like imagining money as energy. And money is like, getting a potion or like a medicine. But like, how do we make the money move to the spaces where our community is suffering, right? Like when I think about children and youth, they're all depressed, they're feeling hopeless, they feel despair, they feel like the world's gonna be terrible. Because look at their little picture of the world. It's been terrible, actually, for a big portion of time.
Yeah.
So like, how can we introduce to them hope and possibility, but embodied through ecotherapy, through just planting and like thinking about me planting this is gonna make the bees come and make the food come, and it's gonna, so, and just like thinking that way, even just thinking that way. That like me making an effort is making a difference,
Yeah.
That's huge, right? But then also to add to that, to connect with all kinds of mentors and teachers. Maybe they want to mentor here and support with media production and storytelling, right? Or maybe there's mentorship around healthcare and becoming a nurse or a doctor that's integrating cultural medicines and spiritual medicines. Or it's about becoming a technologist, or it's about engineer, or it's about builder or a farmer, or getting mentorship. But that mentorship happening in a capacity we're solving the problems, because these grants are to do eco-restoration, are to do people restoration, because it's caused harm. That's the point. The money is coming because there's harm that's been caused. So what are the projects that are creating, are bringing harmony to that harm, that are healing that harm, right? So that how can that be both? How can the mentorship be a part of it for the youth and for the young people, but also like the seniors are very not doing well, right? There's so many people in our communities, there's chronic illnesses all over the place. People are depressed. People are having a hard time finding good relationships and being in a healthy, happy relationship, joyful relationship, right? Like a romantic relationship. Right. Even people with their wives and husbands, like, are people really joyful in it? Or are they just like going through it? How can we revive the joy in being with each other in relationship, to do projects together, to visualize, to put effort together, and then hope and visualize for something great, but to do it in community, not by ourselves.
Yeah. No, I think what's really important is, again, is going back to community. I think we've gotten to the point where we could travel to different places to go hang out and do stuff, but like we never really hung out in a community. It's the same thing where like when people say, I just moved out of LA, but I never checked out LA, right?
Right.
And suddenly you're like, wait, actually becoming a visitor to your own town actually made you want to go and visit. Yeah. And so what we're doing is this idea of like, people are depressed because they don't know the people around them, right? Maybe we know up to 2 to 3 neighbors at max,
right.
But we probably don't know the rest of the neighbors in the community, right? Yeah. And so when we say like you're part of Crockett, right, what is that going to do? But also like this idea that there's now investment in the community, but and this is kind of what we're talking about. There is a generational translation that's not happening, right? Where we are seeing a lot of these, elders who know these amazing equipment, trade skills, they're still building stuff from their hands. Even sitting in this beautiful studio where they have these cameras, like to me, I'm like, wow, like I haven't seen these cameras ever since like the days of, being in studios in LA. But like, this is where people who know this information, these skills, they want to teach the younger kids, But the younger kids, they're not connected to this anymore. They really are disconnected to this community,
right,
and to their peers.
Yeah.
And so that's why, like, in a way, how do we kind of introduce back apprenticeship and masterships, right? Because it is not just that, but like the relationship of the teacher-student.
Right.
That is also kind of allowing us to build a relationship with a person of the community. Right. And so that's why it's really exciting that you're really trying to now get more people in the community involved. And that's why I think even just being able to be here today in this studio, right? It is, again, the community has a lot of tools to offer to the people, but people don't know about it, right? And like this magazine, like there's so many amazing stories in here, but yet like, unless you are reading this, and this is kind of like a modern day digital burning, right? When we are not transferring like awesome book stuff into the digital platform, the audience who's not reading anything in the book form is not getting access to a lot of the this is the legacy that our own people, people have left. Like this Dan the man is leaving this, and if no one's reading it, like his service is not being appreciated.
Yeah. Oh, maybe we can have him on, dude.
Yeah, you should
And that's the
totally.
intention is, this show is an opportunity to bring on people like Dan, people in the community that are doing great work, kids and youth, actually. So I wonder if we're actually sharing their gifts, sharing what they're enjoying doing, sharing if they, whoever comes to Lavender, the Lakshmi Eco Fest, where we're planting lavender, any of the youth that show up for that, hey, come and share what you experience. And maybe that's a way to bring back this kind of like more localized media and network is more like actually people seeing themselves in it, right?
Yeah, why don't you share also what the event will be?
Oh.
Right.
Ooh.
Let the audience know.
I mean, there's definitely going to be crows there. There's definitely going to be some crows there. No, it's a Lakshmi Eco Fest, and I think it's important to why it's called Lakshmi, because Lakshmi. Do you know anything about Lakshmi?
No, please remind me.
So Lakshmi is the goddess of like, if I could explain from my perspective, she's the goddess of like flow, because like they say she's a goddess of abundance, but even like think about abundance in nature. Like how can you how is abundance? How does it happen? How is it sustained?
I think abundance is sustained because there's always, when you're harvesting, then you're also then recreating it, rebuilding it. So actually using allows you to be more abundant versus if you let it go to waste, actually the next season there's a lot less of that plant because nature believes that you're not using it. But if we are harvesting, if we are using nature, then nature actually will replenish itself. So that's actually way more abundant.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that too, because even like nature will automatically like I would say both ways, right? When you like, for example, you dam a river, right? Look what happens. Like it's crazy, like damming the river, how much scarcity it produces, and right?
Yeah, and can we be honest about the word dam? Like we decided that that's going to be the word that we use to like hold back water, and right? So damn if you do, and damn if we don't. But yeah, like this idea that when we are hoarding, even in nature, like what happens in nature when we hoard, then suddenly the food goes bad.
Oh, damn.
Because no one's eating it.
Yeah. Also, you can't really eat the gold, So.
Exactly. Hoard gold.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to like Lakshmi, right? This like and this goddess or this energy, this different, like just like we have different emotions. Like there's this color, this vibration of flow and of abundance. And when we honor her, like when we like pray to her or we just honor her, like maybe it's not pray because that might even diminish it. It's more just like understanding and relating with it.
Have a communication.
With it. What if that supports the flow of our currency, energy, our resources, our nature? What if it supports? What if it's kind of like it's cross-supportive, So we're calling it Lakshmi Fest with the context of doing a little bit of honoring of her in this context, and we'll do some fun play shops around that, right? Because Lakshmi comes up in many cultures. It's not just in the Indian traditions, the Vedic traditions. It shows up in indigenous cultures. It shows up in other different spiritualities in different ways. Actually, I'm sure that I'm curious in Christianity, like how we can. I wonder where that energy is showing up, right? And I think also it's important to understand that right now with like the $10 million, for us to have so much deep respect for that energy that when the money is coming, we both don't shy away from the money because we're like, oh, we don't deserve it, which happens a lot, right? Or we think money connected to evil and that like getting a lot of money, it's gonna lead to corruption and bad stuff or whatever. It's like, look how bad people are. So there's like this weird thing that happens with money, especially for people who wanna do great things. Like people who wanna do good, honest, moral, integrity stuff have trouble with money.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I think we do need to heal from the idea and word of money. I think money is just an exchange of energy. And so when we are providing something, we're getting something back. Right. And I think what's happened today is we've turned that into the most important thing rather than the relationship. And to create relationship, we do need this exchange, right? And so right now what's happening is like things have been done to the environment now, and now we're getting some kind of exchange to say, hey, because of what we did, what is it that we're going to need to kind of develop something together, right? And so let's get to like the details of this event, because this event we're talking about, this festival, is next Saturday on December 21st, which is the solstice. So we're excited for that, but the time is...
It's going to be from 9 to 4, and it's going to start, and people can come whenever they want, but the intention is that there are different things happening throughout the day, including a sound bath, including wellness stuff, sound bath. There's going to be movement and Tai Chi and yoga and stretching for like whenever we do any works. It's going to be intergenerational. Kids are welcome, adults, seniors. People can do whatever work at whatever capacity they can, whether the ecological work. But also we're going to be doing stuff around donut economics and understanding donut economics in the context of how we can come together and create some circles around projects that will solve those problems in our community that the donut economics shows.
And regenerate the economy too, because a lot of times people talk about sustaining economies, but that's sustaining the problem of that economy. But I really believe that regenerative economy is actually that it starts to sustain itself.
Exactly.
Right? Or regenerate its abilities. And so I think what's happened today is like we just don't have any economy that's going back into the community and supporting the community, so that the next generation is getting something back from the elder generation. And I think that's what's missing today is every day where we are born, like only what our parents have created is what we're getting, versus like what used to happen is we were getting 7 generations of our elders giving us something when we were born, and we're like, look at the wealth that we've created for our generation to experience.
And I love that you said that, because I think it's also important for us to start to remunerate and create the systems that are going to like support the people in our community that are going to do the healing. Because that's important, the healing, whether it's mental, physical, spiritual healing. We need to support the people who are the farmers, the ecological stewards, the one who make sure the water, like actually can do the physical work. The physical work, farming, the physical work for water stewardship, all that stewardship, the waste management stewardship, the right way ecologically, right, and sustainably waste management, and also the teachers. The people in our community that are good at teaching, good at mentoring, good at being healthy, happy adults themselves, so that children and the youth and the adults can be healthy and happy. Because right now we have a lot of adults that are teachers that are not very happy.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth, right?
So how do we create a regenerative economy, local, bioregional? Using this $10 million or whatever $1 million, it goes that way. And also we invite the people from the community, the different county officials that are involved, the city officials, the public servants, they're all involved in the picture. You guys look at the community, look at the different amazing gifts that the community has to offer, and you guys can put your name on it. You guys can be a part of it, actually. You guys might have, maybe your husband has a gift. Maybe your wife has a gift, we didn't even know. And we can collaborate to make it resilient, the community.
Yeah, and that's also supporting the community too, because it's not just putting it back into the environment and then what happens to the community, right? The community should be supported. So really excited to be there. I'm excited to be here, to be supporting Crockett and however we can. But it is next Saturday, December 21st from 9 to 4. So everyone, please come by, check it out. It's free for everybody to attend. So
it's free? Free festival with music?
Free festival, there's music.
Economic education, literacy, financial literacy education, grant education, civic education.
And this is where people get to dream about what kind of community they want to experience, right?
Civic imagination. We're going to be planting lavender.
Oh, that's right.
And then maybe we're going to be able to, the plan with the lavender is we plant it, and then after maybe a year or two, when it starts growing a lot, we can teach people how to make essential oils from it.
Yeah.
So we can pick the flowers and make essential oils for the community.
And this is what, going back to the more we harvest, right, the harvest of lavender, then the next season we're going to have even more lavender. And that's how we create the abundance, right? Is how do we create with nature the abundance that nature already provides.
And that's why how we're honoring Lakshmi, is we're actually going to plant and create the abundance literally with our hands and our work and our effort while we're talking about this grant money and creating abundance in the community, and for these grant money to reach the people in the community and not some national or international company that's coming in to take the money, but it's actually somebody from our community that is actually using it to enrich the community.
Exactly. So super excited.
Oh, by the way, this show is brought to you by, hold on, where was it right here? Yeah. This show is brought to you by Pan's Mushroom Jerky. These are different kinds of mushroom jerkies that are made all from regenerative farming. It's got shiitake mushrooms, avocado oil, water, organic coconut sugar, organic seasoning, black pepper, Himalayan pink salt, organic chia seeds.
Ooh, wow.
It's all organic right here. Pans. And like, what do you think about pan, Charlie, with the...
Pan's Labyrinth?
Have you ever seen a pan? What if, can I play him right here?
Pan?
Can he play this right here? And then I'm playing it the other way. Get your Pan's Labyrinth. Get your Pan's mushroom jerky in the Cosmic Labyrinth.
Come join us in the Cosmic Labyrinth.
Right, it's right out of my heart, actually, right there. Cool. Cosmic Labyrinth! Cosmic Labyrinth!
Yeah.
Or should we music it out? All right.
Let's do it.
We'll do it. We'll do the crow.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Cut and print. Cut, print, cut, print, print, cut, print, cut, print, print, cut.
Do we have to press stop anywhere?
I think we go into the screen. Whoa. Hit me that shit. Hit that screen. Hit that screen. Hit that screen.